You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. For some reason, this freaking thing closed on me. Come on, baby, hang in there. All right, we're good. We're back. We do have a new caller today. It's always a good day when we have a new caller. I also see, well, it was 60 calls, and then I clicked on the new caller, so it went down to 59. And just during the intro, apparently 2 more calls came in. We're back up to 61, so a lot of people got a lot to say, and I have a feeling I have a large idea what that largely pertains to. But let's get started with new caller numero uno.
Hey, this is Chad from Kansas City. Oh, man, just finished.
Google says Jeff from Kansas City. I didn't hear Jeff. Hold on a second.
Hey, this is Chad from Kansas City.
I heard like Chad or something. Dang it! I feel like we have to go with Jeff from Kansas City because Google said so. We'll come to that. I apologize. Please continue.
Oh, man, just finished up the game. There's a lot of emotions, I guess, in that game. A lot of hot players. Hate to blame the refs. We had our opportunities, but, man, there was a couple things that were just so egregious.
Pretty bad.
The refs kept the flag in their pocket. The Amon-Ra McKinney altercation on the field, when he knocks his helmet off, I mean, that's pretty egregious.
Yes.
The hands to the face and hit on the helmet to Love.
Yes.
That was pretty egregious. And then the fact that they called an OPI on Christian Watson, and then the very next series where the Lions sealed the game, the Lions ran the exact same play and they didn't call a penalty. Just unbelievable. Other than that, defense cannot stop anybody in the middle of the field. 2 weeks in a row, did it against Miami, did it again tonight.
Exactly right.
Offense, slow start. Props to Josh Jacobs, getting 3, 1-yard touchdowns. But, I mean, come on, guys. Offensive line did not play well. Defensive line did not play well. Secondary did not play well. It's bad football. But, I guess we went toe-to-toe with the best team in the league. So, oh well.
Well, and I think that's honestly a better takeaway. I don't want to dwell on the refs, and I get stuck in these death spirals, especially on social media, because I'll say something, and I don't mean for that to be everything that I'm trying to say. I don't want to make it seem like especially that the knee. I got stuck in a death spiral on that because I was like, oh, dude, look, the wording of it actually does look like that should have been down. I mean, I know it's not, obviously, but it's kind of crazy that that's how it's worded. And oh my Lord, here's why I get stuck. I get stuck because people say stupid things. And it's like, yeah, but okay, I don't want to like continue down this rabbit hole and double and triple and quadruple down, but that's stupid. That's not correct. You're making stuff up, and I got to let you know that you're an idiot. And I end up just spending all day arguing something that I don't want to argue about. I don't want to talk about the refs 24/7. I know we're going to talk about it a lot today. It was really bad. But you're right. I mean, it took the offense too long to get going. We got to figure out something to do in the middle of the field. I talk about this a little bit tomorrow. I don't know if this is Hafley maybe having tweaked something because there are benefits. Number one, the blitzing the linebackers thing seems to work quite well. Number two, the run defense has been unbelievably good. At the same time, though, Miami certainly figured out a weakness, and it's been exploited 2 weeks in a row to a really high degree. Again, I'll go over the stats tomorrow. It's shocking, especially McDuffie. The last 2 weeks, I mean, he may have just doubled the amount of receptions he got for the year the last 2 weeks. So they got to tweak something. It may cost us some blitzing, which could cause us to not generate as much pressure. It could cost us some run defense. I don't know. But I'm hoping they can figure something out. And look, having questionable, first of all, we got injuries, so Edgerrin Cooper's not on the field. We got injuries at safety, which, that also has to do with middle of the field type stuff. So we're trying to patch some stuff together for sure. And I am encouraged by a lot of stuff, but the bottom line is, and I said this before, do I think the better team lost because of penalties? I honestly can't say that. Now, maybe I should be able to say it, because if you just correct the penalties, the Packers probably win. But, bad penalties happen all the time. This was certainly more egregious and more leaning in one direction than I can remember, and I wish it wasn't that way, so I didn't have to sit here and talk about it and sound like a bitter fan, but it was really, really bad. But look, I think the Lions really played well. Even if you get rid of the push-offs and the violent play, you don't need to be diving at people's knees. You don't need to two-head and punch a guy in the face. The bottom line is they would have scored a penalty, or they would have scored a touchdown on that play. If he didn't two-hand the guy to the face and he just put it in his chest, they were going to execute that play well enough to score a touchdown, right? They played good football. They just did. They tackled really well. They played really hard. They were able to give our offensive line one of the worst games they've ever played, despite having all the injuries. That is unbelievably impressive. They play aggressive football, and it panned out with the exception of one time. They scored when they were in scoring position. The field goal kicker made all his kicks. It just, when it comes down to disciplined, good football, they just did it. Goff wasn't making bad passes. He did struggle with pressure a little bit. There were a couple times he got pressured. He just kind of dirted some balls, and that was working to our advantage. But, he played a clean game. The receivers caught the passes that came to him. Some of them were highly contested. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know how you freaking caught that, dude. I wish it went differently. I wish the Packers won. I think there's a good chance they would have if it was played in Lambeau. I think there's a good chance they would have if it was a different officiating crew, or if the officiating crew had just called some of the more egregious ones differently. But the Lions played well enough to win that game. It would have been much more upsetting if I thought that the Lions really didn't play well, but just got away with a bunch of stuff. I don't think that that's the case. I think the Packers and the Lions both played to a high degree. I think they both showed that they are a playoff caliber team. And I think, one team came out on top, and in a game where it just kept going back and forth and back and forth. And if there was one more possession, do I think the Packers would have won? Yes, I do. I don't think the Lions had an answer for the Packers either. And that's a very good Lions defense, and they could not stop the Green Bay Packers offense. So I agree with the sentiment that the referees were awful, and it makes it worse when it was really egregious and it was at really inopportune times that deliberately, specifically took points off the board or put points on the board. And it was in a close game, and it was a divisional game. Listen, Lions fans can piss and moan all they want about, you're bitter. Bro, first of all, you guys do that every single time when you lost, so I don't want to hear it, especially when it wasn't even true. All we heard is you get all the calls because you went back and found one missed holding call or something stupid. It was never anywhere near this egregious. So you don't get to talk. But every fan base understands that there isn't a single fan base or a single fan that's going to watch a game with those kinds of things and not be frustrated by it. But again, they played a good game and they won the game. And that's how it goes. But am I thinking that we can't beat them? Absolutely not. I think that the Packers can beat the Lions. I think it's going to be a tough game because they're a tough team, but that goes both ways. If the Lions play the Packers again, they better know that they're in for a dogfight. That was one of the hardest fought games that they played the entire year, and they can expect that again. They're going to get that against Buffalo. They're probably going to get it against Minnesota, and they might get it again multiple times in the playoffs. And the idea that they're going to go undefeated through that, I highly doubt it. We'll see. Maybe they do. Maybe they are undefeated the rest of the season. Their one loss came week 2, and they're just going to win all the way through and win a Super Bowl. I don't know. But I think you're starting to see a little bit of cracks. Again, they narrowly beat Chicago. They narrowly beat Green Bay. Now they got to go to Buffalo. We'll see, man. Anyways, you are officially Jeff. I'm very sorry because I'm pretty sure that's not what you said, but I don't know, and I don't want to make it up, especially if it is Jeff. That's going to sound stupid. So, sorry about that. dude, but that's how she goes, man. Sometimes you just get a random name.
Hey, Ryan. Daniel from California.
Oh, by the way, this is I don't usually play these, but I already started, so this is well before the game. We'll just see how this goes.
I'm over here, and there's a tsunami warning.
Yeah.
And it must be real bad. I know it's a serious situation, but I didn't know the possible devastation that the 49ers losing to us that bad and losing to the Bills that bad could lead to a tsunami warning over here. Yeah, that's my bad joke.
That's fine. I appreciate a bad joke.
Tsunami warning on my phone. I'm over in the San Francisco Bay Area right now, but I don't know if anything's going to happen, but all I know is the Packers are about to hit the line with a tsunami. Hopefully this isn't a horrible joke, but we'll find out. But, yeah.
Yeah, fortunately, it sounds like nothing came of it. At last I saw, it got canceled. I haven't heard anything since then, but that would have been a terrible joke if, like, a bunch of people died because of a tsunami.
Hopefully tonight's a good game. Go Pack, go.
Well, appreciate that. And this, again, since I already played one before the game, this is very slightly before the game. Don't usually play these, especially when I have this many calls, but we set a precedent on accident. So, Chris, what's up?
What's going on, Ryan? Chris from Alabama, man. I'm pushing the limit. We got
pushing
10 minutes
man.
before 7 o'clock, 10 minutes before game time. Might be a little longer, they got to do all the opening things or whatever, but they want to get their call in, man, and I just wanted to chime in and give them a little thoughts before the game about maybe some key players that, really one key player that I call him key player, but he haven't been key really all season, though. But I really expect him to kind of have a breakout game out of nowhere, or I won't say expect, I'm going to say a needed breakout game. Mm-hmm. And that's Dontavian Wicks, man.
I'm glad I played this call. I'm so glad I played this call. Chris from Alabama just speaking it into existence, man.
And ain't really showed up like talking about it all season, man. Dropped issues all season. I really think we are about to see a Dontavian Wicks type of game. Jeez. I mean, nothing crazy. Maybe, I say stat line, I'm going to say about maybe four, maybe 5 receptions, 75-yard type deal, 75 to 90 yards, maybe a touchdown or 2, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully I'm right. If I was a betting man, I wouldn't put no money on it. But it would really be nice to see because, he was promising last season. He's been struggling this season. It would be nice to see, like, every other one of our wide receivers had at least one breakout game. So it's just like, man, come on, man. It's been your turn for a couple of weeks now. So that's what I hope to see. But either way, I feel very confident about this game. I think we're going to come out here and handle our business and show everybody that's watching this tonight who the Kings of the North really is. I know everybody been breaking down the percentages about us winning the division and all that. Man, we still in it. If we win this tonight, we definitely have a shot. They got Buffalo next week. And honestly, Buffalo going to come in there and kick their ass. So if we can take care of this, I think everything can take care of ourselves when we can be looking up week 18, either in first place playing or trying to fight for the crown. But that's all I wanted to say, man. Before the game started, I expect everything to go like it's supposed to go. Go Pack, go. I'll talk to y'all at halftime, man. Let's get it.
Well, I'll give you half credit and me half credit. I've been a jinx all year. Everything I've said, the opposite has come true. The second I started ragging on Wicks last week because he had a drop that popped up in the air and almost got picked, and I just said we need to be done with this experiment for now. Like, just, maybe another time, but let's stop it. He went on to go 4 for 4 and then blow up in this game. So I'll give you half credit for that. All right, game has started. In fact, it's 7:41, so we're about a half hour into this, and Jersey Mike has got a lot to say.
Gary, let's go, baby.
I don't know why at the end it thought you said Carey. It says Gary, Carey. It's like, they all sounded the same to me.
Come on. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far by the offense and defense. I don't care. Go Pack Go. You know who it is.
So far, so good, man.
This is Jersey Mike. The sack and the punch in the face that Jordan Love just received. Like everybody's mad at the punch in the face, but maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that defensive tackle was lined up in the neutral zone, if not offsides, and that wasn't even called. That's why he was there so early, and they didn't even. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You know what though? Beyond all that, screw the penalties, because I complain about penalties all the time happening and not happening. How about the offensive line? Zach Tom, somebody, wake the hell up. Your quarterback needs your help. What did I talk about? Just saying chaos and carnage. This is wimpy, limp, you know what, loser garbage. All right? Step it up, offensive line. Step it the frig up. Matt LaFleur, why are we not running the ball? Why are we not in heavy packages? Smack these Lions in the throat. You're not obviously passing the ball right now because they're blitzing the crap out of us. Do something about it. Come on.
Yeah, we'll talk about it again. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Offensive line, honestly, Zach Tom, he gave up 2 pressures in the game, and I'm convinced they were the first 2 plays of the game because I just saw him get whooped. And then it was real quiet over on that side. That was it. So he graded out just fine. In fact, 3 out of 5 offensive linemen basically just had a standard day. Left tackle, left guard, right tackle, very standard day. The pass blocking for our center and right guard were appalling. And that's where a lot of that crap comes from. So that and the passing thing, again, I will continue to defend LaFleur, at least on those first 2 drives. You probably should have run that first play, but if you remember, the very first play was a sack. You're not running on 2nd and 17, so it's pass after that. And then the next play, I think they ran first, got like a yard, you're in 2nd and 9, what are you going to do? I guess you could try to run again. Maybe you get a bunch of yards, put yourself but I think generally in that situation, you're probably passing. So they kind of just got themselves stuck early on and it couldn't quite get out of it. But I think on that 3rd drive and everybody's screaming, just run. And I was kind of agreeing, like, look, run and then run again and just try it because the passing wasn't working. The pressure was bad. Jordan wasn't handling it very well. The receivers were dropping passes. Like, I didn't trust a single person involved in the pass game from offensive line all the way through. Just run the ball. And they started doing it. I think Matt LaFleur just kind of leaned into that as well. I don't care if it's not working. We just need to do it. And that's when you start to see like 4 yards. It's like, okay, 4 yards is very manageable. And then you run again, get like 6 first down. Like, okay, and they did. Like, it was just never pass. I was even just screaming, like, just do it until it doesn't work anymore. And that's basically what we did. There were a couple passes mixed in, but it was run. And then eventually they keyed in on the run. And fortunately, Jordan Love was just like on it. As soon as they did that, as soon as like we couldn't run anymore, they could not stop the pass. Jordan and the receivers, the tight ends, some of the offensive linemen, they woke up. So it was good to see, man. It really was. I mean, there's some things to complain about for sure, but that Lions defense, which is a good defense, really honestly didn't have a lot of answers to stop the Packers once they got going.
Yo, you can't call that a penalty on Quay. I'm sorry. What? He should. You know what, Quay? Next time, just flop over like homie did to you, so that they can play. Oh, I'm a little baby.
Yeah, I'm torn on that. I mean, of all the different bad calls, look, just don't do that stuff. You know, it was like when Kingsley Enagbare, I'm just going to keep calling it Enagbare, when he jumped on that pile after the whistle blew. I mean, it's stuff like that where it's like, guys, don't do it. In a game like this, I know it's chippy. Don't be the one that retaliates. And, you know, yeah, it was pathetic. And bottom, honestly, I looked at it and it's like, I don't know if he flopped or if he legitimately just knocked him with 2 hands. Because I was kind of impressed with Quay. I was like, dude, you freaking laid that dude out. I don't know. If it was a flop, it was a pretty well-timed and well-executed flop. But either way, I mean, you just, it's like what Matt LaFleur is always screaming from the sidelines, be smart. You just, at some point, be tough is great. You got to be smart. Unfortunately, the Lions did not have to be smart. They could just be tough and be aggressive and be violent and do all kinds of crazy stuff, and they were allowed to get away with it. But we weren't. So, just don't do it, I guess. I don't know what else to say. You just can't be giving them free yards like that.
Run the ball, yes, run the ball. Go Pack.
Thank you very much. See, but again, so now we're at 8:22, almost 8:30. So we're 40 minutes past when he was saying, please run the ball. And we did. And it started working. Thing of beauty, right? You got to be consistent with that. It's tough because you're not getting a lot of opportunities. And it's scary when you run the ball and you get 1 yard and it's like it's just not there to continue doing it. But you have to be able. First of all, if you can't beat these guys on the ground considering what they have, you deserve to lose. Dig in and push and just do it. And fortunately, Matt got into that mindset and said, I don't care. We're just going to go. We're going to go. We're going to go. We're going to go.
That's the second time I've seen Jameson Williams lower his head for contact. How is Quay supposed to be able to tackle him when he's lowering his head for contact properly? What are you supposed to do about that? I thought that's a penalty nowadays, NFL. Come on.
Yeah, it's another one that you're picking up on that I didn't. We're all seeing penalties all over the place. We're just seeing slightly different ones. But yeah, I mean, it is. On one hand, I want to respect teams for being violent, and I said coming into this, it's going to be a violent game, and you need to be the more violent team. But at the same time, there are things where it's like you cannot punch the quarterback in the face. You cannot dive at a guy's knees. You cannot lower your head to initiate contact. Maybe you disagree with whether the rule should exist. It's a rule. It's a rule. So we're either going to enforce these or we're not. And when it came to the Lions yesterday, they refused to enforce rules. So I don't know what to say.
Yo, what's going on, Ryan? Chris from Alabama, man. Halftime, we down 10, man. Oh, man, we got to get a little bit more consistent on offense, man. We got to get it together on offense. Defense, for that first drive, they look like they just marched down the field, but they pretty much held them until that last 4th and goal. That was guts on Dan Campbell's part, but expected from him. I already knew they were going to do that, but we in good shape. We get the ball first half, man. We got to go in and make major adjustments in halftime. I ain't going to say major. We just got to make adjustments, man. We in a good spot. We down 10. Man, there's a whole lot of ball game left. The spark in the second quarter from the defense, you know what I'm saying? Mostly, it's low scoring for real, to be honest with you. But, I mean, we got to make the adjustment. We got to do what we got to do. Come out here in the second half and take care of this business, man. I think we don't need to abandon the run game. I think we need to keep on trying with the run game, keep on giving it to Jacobs, lay off the run game. I mean, it's a 10-point lead. We get the ball first. It ain't nothing to just be in emergency mode. Like, it was 24-3 halftime last time, so, it was dire need. The run game was obsolete, but this time it feels different, man. I think we can turn this shit around. I'm sorry. We can turn it around in the second half, and we can handle our business, man. They got to clamp down, make a minor adjustments on defense, moderate adjustments on offense, man. Execute, man. 9, hold on to the ball. Don't try to do too much, man. Guys, don't try to do too much. I mean, we good, man. We good. We good. It looked kind of, I ain't gonna say it looked bleak. It looked kind of bad, but at the same time, it looked good. It seemed like as long as you get adjustments, Jordan's kind of, ringing in a little bit. That pass, that would have been a touchdown, but we ended up getting it in anyway. But, just minor things like that, man. Can't have any more turnover. We got one. That's all we need. No more turnover, man. But that's all I got, man. We good, man. We good. We gonna come out in the second half and handle our business, man. Go Pack, go, and I'll talk to y'all after the game.
Well, I think you're right about the run game. Every team needs to have an identity. It's unusual for the Packers' identity to have anything to do with a run game. No offense to Aaron Jones, but that's always been a nice compliment to the team. And I think they got to lean into their identity this year. And that is a slightly different identity, and that does revolve around running the ball. We are going to enforce our will on the ground against you. And the passing game is sort of the compliment. Now, don't get me wrong. It's basically like, the run is setting it up with the jab. But we're going to jab the living crap out of you. And then, as far as Jordan, again, we're still relatively early. What time we got here? 8:40. So we're hour and a half in, so halftime. And I think most of us by halftime are looking at Jordan. I mean, it's tough to judge anybody because they didn't have many opportunities, but they just weren't capitalizing on any of the opportunities. And so you're a little nervous because as Packer fans, we always want the quarterback to bail us out, right? But obviously some good things did come as, not that PFF is the ultimate authority, but again, I don't know if I said this yet. Tomorrow's podcast, it was his best game of the season, according to PFF. So he came back with a freaking vengeance. And for the second week in a row, even though maybe this wasn't as clean as Miami, second week in a row, I'm watching this going, some of those throws are crazy. Like that throw where he's under pressure, throws across his body with a flick of the wrist, and it's just past the fingertips of the defender right in the hands of Christian Watson. Good Lord.
Hey, Ryan. This is Jersey Mike.
What's up?
So, I want to give the team my second half speech because, quite frankly, I think that's the rest of what I can do for today. Because at this point, I got to get to work. I got to be up at 10 in the morning. Anyway, I'm not going to call in after this. I've said enough, I haven't said enough until after this. Anyway, team, look at yourselves. You came in here, you're getting smacked in the mouth. I've seen about two guys who want to step up and actually put something on these Detroit Lions. But I'm sick and tired of watching guys like Tucker Kraft, Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, Eric Wilson get thrown around like they're not even there. My corners are doing what they can, but, everybody but the corners are being targeted. Javon Bullard, Jameson Williams, that's going to be a difficult ask. You know what? But Bullard, I'm going to need you to step up. McKinney, I'm going to need you to come up with a play. Stop playing so short. Come up with something. Get a little aggressive. If we get beat over the top, so what? So be it. We're going to get beat regardless if we keep playing like this. Defensive line, you're doing a good job. Rasheed Walker, I like your attitude. Josh Jacobs, keep carrying the rock. Love, I'm going to try to get you some help. Receivers, hold on to the damn ball. How hard is it to catch? Let's clean it up. Let's get back out there. Let's smack these guys in the teeth, or let's go home. Pick one. Pick one. Maybe you won't have a job come, Monday, Sunday. Who knows? Play like your life depends on it. Go, Pack, go.
The more I sit and contemplate, the more I am genuinely proud of a lot of guys on this team. I agree with Rasheed Walker. He had a very standard Rasheed Walker day. Great pass blocking, pretty garbage run blocking. But in a game where you needed to be physical up front, for the most part, with the exception of two guys on the offensive line, I'm really happy with how guys stepped up. Even, same as against Miami, you look at the linebackers and go, man, you guys got killed in coverage. But as far as run defense, particularly Quay, this is 3 weeks in a row. He has stepped up. Kenny has stepped up in a huge way. Huge in this game. I feel like Kenny's been a ghost all year. Every time they stopped the run, I thought I heard Kenny's name. He was in there all the time. It's like old school Kenny, where it's just every play, Kenny's the guy making the play. We forget that used to be a thing. Devontae Wyatt stepped up in run defense, of all things. Elton Jenkins, believe it or not, had a fantastic day. Zach Tom, despite the early couple of flubs there, had a really fantastic day. They fought hard in the trenches. The running backs fought hard in the trenches. But do I think they won the physicality battle? I don't. And I do think the Lions played a little dirty, I said this, I think last time we played the Lions, I used to not care about the Lions. I'm really they're starting to be the team I hate the most. And usually that's just the team that beats us up all the time. But it's so much worse. It almost reminds me of the 49ers when they had Kaepernick. Remember how much they talked? How much they hated each other. That's what this feels like. It was two very violent teams. I mean, the Packers are pretty dirty back there. Clay Matthews, remember when he smoked Colin Kaepernick way out of bounds, and I was kind of happy about it? Clay was such a dirty player, and I just appreciated him for it. I mean, he wasn't dirty like some of these guys, but like he was not afraid to get there a second late. He wanted you to feel the pain. He wanted to freaking hurt people. He was a beast, man. But some of these guys, I want to respect Detroit for what they do, but how many times did Kirby Joseph, I mean, he dove at Christian Watson's knees. He dove at Tucker Kraft's knees. This guy's just trying to take people out at the knees. I'm not talking about going low and wrapping around their waist and driving through them like a proper form tackle. I'm talking about deliberately diving all the way down at a person's shins. That's not how you tackle anybody, unless you're trying to take their knees out, which is what this guy does. And then at the end of the game, he has to be held back as he's chirping in Tucker Kraft's face because he's just a dirty freaking player. That stuff ticks me off. When physicality involves pushing off so you can catch a pass because you're not a good enough route runner, I'm sorry, there's some level of physicality I respect. That play when Jordan Love ran and the guy grabbed his arm and face planted him into the ground. I don't like that as a Packer fan, but that's what you should do. You need to get the quarterback and, smash his face into the ground because you tried to run on me. That was stupid. I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem with Zadarius Smith punching the guy in the face. I mean, there's a fine line between physicality and dirty, and the Lions, coming into the game, I said, I don't know that they're necessarily dirty. Again, I saw somebody put together like a 4-play highlight reel, and maybe one of the 4 looked pretty dirty. Twisting Jordan's leg like that. There's no reason to grab hold of a guy like that and just not let go. Zero reason. But you look at this game and all the highlights of Kirby Joseph and the stuff that he's done, the fact that he was highlighted as a dirty player coming into the game and he twice dove at a guy's knees. And it's frustrating because their dirty play did not get penalized. I mean, if you're going to play physical, good. If you're going to play dirty, you should pay the price, right? Again, Clay Matthews hit Colin Kaepernick out of bounds. There was a flag for that. It was dirty. It was intentional. It was because I freaking hate you. But you eat the flag, right? We had Quay Walker shoved an offensive lineman. It was physical. It was because I hate you, and he got penalized for it. That's what happens. You get too physical, you get a penalty. But the Lions were too physical all day. Zero penalties that I can remember. It's funny. Somebody put together a highlight reel of all the calls, not even all, but a bunch of the calls that went against the Packers. That very first play where Keyshawn got called for whatever it is, illegal use of hands or whatever. You literally had a wide receiver trying to do what Amon-Ra St. Brown was doing, which is run into a guy's chest, push off of him to gain separation. He did that, and we got called for a penalty for that. He ran into the defender's chest and pushed off to try to get separation. Keyshawn played it so well, didn't even get any separation. But they called it a penalty, as though he was somehow impeding the receiver. If that's a penalty, we should do that every time, because it has there's an added benefit. Either you're going to be able to push off them and get separation and get a play, or you're going to get a penalty against them. You should do that every time, if that's actually the rule. Anyways, I don't want to sound whiny, but just, you can't let them do that crap, man. And it's one of those things, too, where I really hope, Matt LaFleur goes to the league office, not for anything necessarily for us, but hey, going forward, I need to make sure that whatever crew is officiating the Lions, you're watching this, because I can show you 7 instances of guys pushing off and it not being called. That needs to be watched. I can show you a guy hitting my quarterback in the face and that doesn't get called. I can show you a guy getting a free rush at the quarterback and getting horse collar grabbed and that doesn't get called. Like, you guys got to wake up and watch these guys because they're dirty football players. Again, if you want to play that way, fine, but there should be consequences, and there just weren't. And that's really annoying. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back and hear from Aaron.
Hey, Aaron from Eau Claire.
What's up?
Just got out of halftime, and Tucker Kraft just caught this laser beam of a pass over tight coverage, and that's the way you start a half right there. A deep ball to Watson, a tight laser throw to Tucker Kraft. That's what we're talking about. Let's go. 3 points down, and The Packers just keep getting better throughout the game. Let's hope it keeps going. This defense has had some incredible moments, and they've been doing a lot of damage against this Detroit offense. So let's buckle up, and I hope that the Packers can keep winning their matchups, and let's go.
Yeah, well, that's the hopefulness of the second half as the Packers start to wake up offensively. And again, there's when you get past all the frustration, there is a lot to take away from that is positive. I mean, first of all, the Packers absolutely went toe-to-toe with this team. Could have absolutely gone either way. They went back and forth in terms of lead change. The Lions ended up top when the clock hit 0. Wow, congratulations. They are a top team in the NFL. They have absolutely proved that, and everybody except pouty Packers fans recognize it. Everybody in the national media watched the Packers and said, holy crap, this is a good football team. You got whiny Packers fans, and then trash-talking Lions fans are the only people, and maybe Bears and Vikings fans, whatever, that are not recognizing that fact. But you got that. You got Jordan 2 weeks in a row. You got some of these defensive linemen stepping up. You got 3 weeks in a row for Quay. Again, they got to figure that middle of the field thing out, but if you're not seeing some positive things happening, I think you should, look a little closer. Still got a long road. I mean, these are not easy games coming up. The Bears are playing tough. Seattle is a borderline playoff team. Minnesota is obviously a tough team. These are not auto wins, but they absolutely show that if they can step up, looking at our offensive line in particular, I don't see why they couldn't earn their spot in the playoffs, because I think that's what is being questioned.
Daddy, that Tucker Kraft cheese slices for 6. We're back.
Yeah, that throw to Tucker Kraft and also the catch. I mean, that's not the first time that's happened. Tucker Kraft has been a reliable target. He's big, strong hands. I mean, throwing those tough passes to Tucker Kraft in the end zone, we've seen that be fruitful. So, what a great addition he's been. I'm still excited for Luke Musgrave. I have not forgotten he exists. I still believe that's a thing. We're running out of time for that to be a thing, but if the guy could frickin' stay healthy and stay on the field, maybe it might not happen this year, because I think, got to get a little run up going for him, kind of like Christian Watson. He's more of a downfield threat. Maybe it takes him a while, maybe next year, whatever. I don't know, but remember, he came back last year, I believe after an injury, and was like the highest graded player in the last 2 games in the playoffs. So we'll see. We'll see if he can come back. Jordan Morgan is hopefully going to be back soon. Get Morgan over there at right guard, get him rocking and rolling, getting him being that primo player that I hope he can be. And again, I might be the only one left, but I am still hanging on to that prediction, because Lord knows I'm so good with predictions.
Dude, sweet baby Nixon with the pick and old JJ finishing her off. We're back. Woo!
Another guy to be really proud of in this game is Keyshawn Nixon. Again, kind of talk about it tomorrow, but, if you're going to be that dude, because everybody else is hurt, so you're it. You can't let people pick on you. You can't be the guy that's getting thrown at all the time and everything else. And although he was thrown at quite a bit, it didn't go very well for the Lions when they threw at him. So, solid day from Keyshawn to just lock it down. I took a pretty extended break, so I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think we've taken a break, so why don't we take our second break? I apologize if we already did this. But we'll come back with Jimmy.
Hey, it's Jimmy.
What's up?
Listen, the Packers just lost the lead, but I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great because we are playing the consensus best team in football, and we're hanging right with them. And whatever, it's third quarter, and we might still not win this game, and it won't matter in our season. And yet we might win this game, and then we can say that we are better than the Lions right now. And even if we don't, we can say we're pretty much as good as the Lions right now, which means we're as good as the best team in football.
I think this is honestly, despite all the negative takes, this is honestly probably the most correct take. And I felt similarly around this time when the Packers fought back, right? It was, That was the other thing I was going to mention on that call, the Keyshawn pick. I mean, we were down 17-7. It was looking ugly. We come back to 24-17. We started going back and forth, whatever. But at that point, you realize this is not a team that's just significantly better than us. And I think you're right. It's whoever wins, I don't know. It's going to depend who has the ball when the clock hits 0. But do the Packers... This was also kind of a let's find out who's a real fraud game. Because there's been a lot of talk about the Lions and a lot of talk about the Packers. And who got exposed? Nobody. And if you're going to say the Packers got exposed, that is absolutely stupid. Stupid. There's no other way to put it.
To everybody else. So anyway, I just want to call at this little Schrodinger's moment in the game when it could still go either way and say, regardless of the outcome, I am genuinely enthused about what this team is doing. Go Pack, go!
Yeah, I mean, just a couple points here. The Green Bay Packers scored more points on Detroit than any other team this entire year. That's what our offense just did, as we piss and moan about the offensive line, and to some degree for a good reason. But despite all the whining, nobody scored as many points on Detroit as Green Bay did. This is coming into this game saying, I think Green Bay has one of the best offenses in football. They went up against one of the best defenses in football, hung over 30 points for the third week in a row. This time, no doubt. It's not, 49ers are good, but they don't have Bosa, so they might not be good. Or, Miami has had a really good defense for like 3-4 weeks in a row where they didn't allow people to score like 10 points, but their record is bad, so they probably suck, so that doesn't count either. Okay, at what point does it count? Because this is a dominant performance that we're seeing from our offense. Beyond that, this is one of the Detroit Lions are one of the best rushing attacks in football. It was their worst rushing game of the entire season. For a team that has almost never had a good run defense, going back to, you have to go back to like Reggie White days, basically, for us to have a good run defense. Maybe like 2010-ish. That was Jahmyr Gibbs' worst day of the entire season, possibly of his very short career. I don't know. I go through all of that tomorrow. Not just his yards per attempt, which are through the floor, but yards over expected per attempt. All the stats down the line. His worst game came against the Green Bay Packers. And yes, it does suck. We gave up 34 points. You know where that ranks for this offense? That is only the 5th most points they put up. They put up 42 on Seattle, 47 against the Cowboys, and then 52 points twice. So, yeah, it's a lot. And also the Vikings, the best defense in football, they put up 31 points on the Vikings. I wish it was better. I do. I wish it was less points. But this is just kind of what Detroit's been doing all year. And it came down to fractions of a second, fractions of an inch. If they didn't convert that frickin' 4th down, Packers very likely go on to win that game. Maybe not very likely, but to 50% chance, let's say. Comes down to the overtime coin flip. So it was their worst defensive performance, worst rushing performance, and just 5th best offensive performance. Which 5th out of, 12, 13 games? It's a little bit into top half. And they put up 31 points against Minnesota in Minnesota. I mean, there's so many reasons to look at this and just go, yeah, the Packers lost. But all the way down the line, they're doing what the good teams are doing. This is almost identical to the Vikings game. 29-31, we were 31-34. You look at what happened with Green Bay and San Francisco. They play Buffalo. Buffalo has almost identical scores. So the Packers replicated what Buffalo did. They look like Buffalo. They look like Detroit. They look like Minnesota. They look like all the teams at the top. Yeah, but they can't beat them. First of all, can't is stupid. Don't say can't, because that's obviously not true. They haven't beaten them, in large part because they were a bad football team the last time that they played them. This is the first time they played a good team when they were ready to actually play a good team. And they didn't win, but it was very close, and they very easily could have won that game. Let's not be overly dramatic. Not like we've played 50 times and they've never beat a good team. Let's just relax a little bit.
Dude, 4th down stop? I mean, coming up with a TD with JJ? Even if this doesn't end the way that we want it to, momentum, whatever else, like, all of what's happening right now matters.
Yes.
And if it doesn't happen at the end, I don't care. Like, spine is being established
this is it, man. Like, this is what we've wanted him to show and do. Let's get away with it, man. What the hell? Why not? Let's shoot for the fucking moon. Oops, sorry. I just sweared. I apologize. That's it. Yeah.
I am pleasantly surprised to hear that this perspective is prevalent. And granted, we didn't lose yet, so you're kind of in that mode where you're feeling good. Everything that happens from this point on is our linebackers being massively exposed, giving up fourth down plays, and terrible penalty situations. So I can understand where frustration is about to ramp up here, but I think that this is probably the right take. I don't know how it's going to end. The end is going to come down to a coin flip. Who has the ball last? Lions had the ball last, and they went down and they got 3 points. That's what happened. But we learned by this point in the game that they can absolutely hang with the team.
Go for it on 4th and 1 in your own 30. We made them fucking pay. We made them pay.
It did feel good to finally make them pay. It's unfortunate that so many times they got away with it, especially the last time, because that was a stupid decision. There's no reason to risk the entire game to go for it when you can kick a field goal and the Packers had, 30 seconds with no timeouts to go down and score? Give me a break. You didn't need to do that. You were being cocky and arrogant, and we should have made them pay, and we didn't. But this was a good one. This one felt amazing. And they did a really good job on those short yardage stops. I mean, to be fair, they converted some of the fourth downs or whatever, but the ability, it was usually on third down they would try and fail, and that's shocking against the Lions. They need a half a yard, and they can't get it. And a lot of those conversions were passes. Like, they couldn't get it, easy pass against the linebacker. I had to record this little bit here because it got all freaking robotic again, but I think a lot of people articulated it properly that he's going to start coaching some losses here. He's going to make these decisions, and he's going to pay. And I cannot wait for that to happen. I hope it happens as early as next week. You cannot go for it on your own 30-yard line. I know the analytics are very pro go for it on fourth down. I cannot imagine in a situation when you're not getting blown out that you should go for it on your own 30-yard line, that you should go for it on that last play. Some of these things are just bravado for the sake of bravado, but they're stupid. And as a coach, if you make stupid decisions, that's going to come back and bite you. The fact that he's being seen as a genius for making stupid decision and his team is bailing him out by executing, or his offensive coordinator by calling good plays, or whatever the case may be, they're getting lucky. But he's making bad decisions. So, it's hard to say that if they're converting. Okay, well, I'm just saying that's going to end up hurting them.
I am so juiced up right now. That was offensive. That they thought they could get that in their own, that was offensive. And we made them bleed for it.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Hey, Ryan, it's Jersey Mike. I said I was going to call back. The team heard something from me during halftime. But what is this? Holding blatantly up the middle. The guy is holding Keyshawn Nixon, which gives Jared Goff enough time to throw the touchdown, and nobody's going to call it. But what's even worse is we're not going to call illegal hands to the face on Amon-Ra St. Brown as he punches Xavier McKinney in the helmet. What is going on with the NFL? I said before, you know what, the penalties can't be the reason that we lose this game, but I want some actual explanations every single friggin' week. This is what we get from the NFL. When is something going to happen?
Yeah, look, it is what it is. What happened, happened. I had fun 24 hours just going through it and shoving it in Lions fans' faces who have nothing better to say than, oh, you guys always cheated, so now it's your turn. Okay, well, thanks for admitting that you guys absolutely cheated your way through this team. That's very noble of you. Also, you're wrong about the Packers' history. It is hilarious. I saw somebody post these two charts, which he must have saved somewhere. It's the funniest chart in the world. The best thing is when people post graphs to prove a point, read what it says at the top. It said something like, it was obviously like biggest beneficiaries of penalties or whatever, but it was like 2009 through 2016, week 12. What? You literally just tweaked this graph until you got exactly what you wanted with the Packers. And that was it was two charts. They both were that way. One was week 12, one was a different time span using different metrics, and one different week, it was week 10. It's just the fakest. They're just lying. They've been lying this whole. The bottom line is here's the bottom line. The Packers have beat the crap out of the division, and these losers cried about it and pretended that they lost because the referees cheated for the Packers. When that never happened, the Packers just beat the living crap out of them. Now there is a game. By the way, we lost to the Vikings. Did any Packer fans do this about the Vikings? The answer is no. There might have been a couple plays that got brought up. It wasn't like this because that wasn't the situation against the Minnesota Vikings. They just won. That's what happened. So this isn't just whining for the sake of whining. It was obviously egregious. And everybody acknowledges it. And again, the only argument back is, well, yeah, no, it's your turn. Oh, it's hilarious coming from you. Oh, okay, let's play that back the other way. You do not get to complain about people crying about penalties because that's been your entire identity for decades. So yeah, Lions fans laughing at people who are talking about penalties is the most ironic thing in the world. A freaking joke.
Yeah, this is Virgin Mike. McManus just scored. All right. So this is where I'm at. The NFL has a serious problem. Beyond just the normal conspiracy theorists that always call the game rigged and they say that the tickets say this is for entertainment purposes only and yada yada, so on and so forth. There are people legitimately...
I've never heard that argument, but that would be a stupid argument. Of course it's entertainment. It's categorized as entertainment. That's what it's supposed to be. What do you think sports are?
Betting on these games. There's legitimate money riding on this stuff. And I'm not betting on these games, but there's a lot of people out there who are. Something has to be done about the quality of the product that is put down on this field. You've got to be kidding me that somebody in New York can't call down and say, hey, guess what? Pick up that flag on Christian Watson because that is the least egregious thing that hasn't been called all night.
I mean, listen, I'm in favor, and I've said this before, we don't need refs on the field. We don't. You want to put them there? Fine. But we don't really need that. We have 70,000 different camera angles. Put 10 people in a booth watching from up above, from behind, from the side, from all that stuff. Put all these people on there. I don't need a ref guessing as he runs down the field. We got somebody upstairs that has instant replay that can watch it and tell the guys down there where to mark the ball. And you know what? They're going to catch a lot of this stuff. They're going to catch, you know how I know they're going to catch it? Because the people on TV, there's two guys on TV who are watching replays and they're like, oh, that was a penalty. If you had 10 refs in every game, and yes, that's a lot of refs, I don't give a crap. They don't need to be making $275,000 a year anyways. That's way too much freaking money. Get guys making $75,000 if you want, get 10 of them. It's less than $1 million a game for officiating, which is somewhat important. By the way, we're probably paying that anyways. These guys make insane amounts of money, and what are there, 5 of them making like $200,000? So we're talking about the same amount of money here. 10 people on different cameras, and you got people that are navigating it too, right? Okay, pull up these 2 cameras, let's get this down. You know, all these people talking, and that's the thing. If anybody says like, "Oh, dude, there was a illegal hands to the face," like they're saying it or whatever, people are upset. You see players with their hands in the air. You see coaches screaming. You can go check what the problem is and see if it's actually a problem. For every penalty, you can have 3 eyes on it. So you can say, oh, let's go back and look. It looked like that defender was on the ground there. Did Christian Watson pick him? And you got 10 people analyzing it saying, number one, he was only 1 yard down the field. I mean, he's very close to being within a yard if it wasn't within a yard. And also he was jumping out of the way. Probably shouldn't throw a flag on that. And it's really not going to slow down the game. You got referees, first of all, it takes them 10 seconds just to rally together. In the time it takes for them to run to a circle, and then sit there and talk for 3 frickin' minutes about what they think happened and who did this or that or the other thing, this could be a lot faster. Just have maybe 1 or 2 guys on the field. Their only job is to announce the call that came from up above, throw the flag when they're told to throw the flag, right? Somebody upstairs says throw it, they throw it, and then mark the ball where they tell you to mark the ball. And you say, well, there's going to be too many penalties. I don't know. I think there might be a lot less penalties because a lot of these penalties are stupid and shouldn't be thrown anyways. very easy to have discretion and not call every single thing like, oh, that maybe was a holding call or whatever. You know what? We can let some stuff go. Maybe we can let these guys play a little bit of football, but at least let's be consistent. We have started using the eye in the sky more, but we're trying to not let it encroach too much. Bull crap. Let it do all the work. I don't care. Every penalty should be reviewed from above. And everything that wasn't called should be reviewed from above. There's no listen, just get it right. Just get it right. That's all I'm saying. You got somebody upstairs that can cross-check it. And you know what? They're still going to get stuff wrong. We have the booth review thing going on. And they still get it wrong once in a while, although they do a pretty good job, I think. I think most of us kind of know the call before it comes in. I felt like a long time ago, some of those reviews were pretty bad. Maybe they got more camera angles or something. It feels like lately, we all kind of know what the call is going to be, you can tell. Especially if nothing else, we've all learned that they're not going to overturn it unless it's clear and obvious. And a lot of times it's not clear and obvious, and we look at it and go, yeah, it probably is, but they're not going to switch it. Whatever the case may be. Point is, just get it right. That's all I care about, right? I do care about tradition and all that stuff, but the zebras on the field, that to me, not the most important traditions. It's just not. I got warned by Jersey Mike that there was going to be a swear-laden call. He called in a little bit later, too, so I wasn't sure if it was going to be later or what, but I believe this is it, so I will do my best to bleep it as it comes in, but hold on to your butts.
Ryan, it's Jersey Mike. Wow, I am so beyond belief. Please tell me that we missed Jared Goff kneeling in on 4th down. It doesn't matter if it's unintentional. It's in the rule book. It's unintentional. It's down. It is down. Why the heck did they allow that to be run? How do we have this happen? This is ridiculous. I feel so sorry for every single Packers fan and every single Packers player that had to be put through this tonight. I am beyond myself. This is beyond disgusting. The refs have blatantly ignored all of the rules in the rule book to make the Detroit Lions have what they want. This is a completely rigged game. There is no evidence to the contrary. The NFL wanted the Detroit Lions to win this game. Detroit Lions fans are going to go off and off and off and off about how their team won. Well, this is what you're going to say this week. To Dan Campbell, to Lions fans, fuck that cockfight for the Detroit Lions. I am so sorry, Ryan. Please bleep everything out because this is beyond ridiculous. There is no acceptable reason how the Detroit Lions were allowed to win this game the way that they did. Multiple fouls that were not called. A touchdown that's called back on a call. This disgusting. Matt LaFleur, you need to go to the media and rant and rave about how awful the NFL referee situation is and why there is no acceptable reason for any of these refs to have a job come any other day of the week. They should be fired immediately before they go home. I am so disgusted. I wish one singular person, a little old me, could get in Roger Goodell's face and tell him how sorry and spineless he is. He's a coward, afraid to actually have any accountability for the product that he's allowed to be put on the field. It is time now for full-time refs who are held accountable for their actions monetarily. You screw up games, you call games the wrong way, there's going to be an investigation into you because why are you rigging stuff? It needs to stop now. I'm sick and tired of watching NFL game after NFL game get rigged. And it's not even just tonight. They favor the Chiefs, they favor the Lions, they favor whoever the heck they want. It is 100% fixed. Prove me otherwise. Prove me otherwise. Show me some evidence. Oh, man, I'm so heated. I'm so done. I'm so done. On to the next week, but something needs to be done. Go, Pack, go.
I'm more or less with you, and it's your fault, by the way, that I'm getting dragged on social media like crazy. Listen, it's funny because it's always annoying when people gang up on you because it's like, I feel like I'm in elementary school when, and I've mentioned this several times, the Packers would win and I'd show up and they'd also go, Bear, or the Packers suck. It's like, bro, we won. Like, what are you talking about? It's elementary school teasing nonsense. Here's the funny part. I understand what the rule is trying to say. The rule is trying to say that if a quarterback deliberately takes a knee immediately, then it's a kneel down, he gave himself up, et cetera, et cetera. The problem is that's not what the rule says, and that's not how it's written. And what I am telling you definitively is that if I were to hire a lawyer and go to court to sue those referees based on the way that the rule is written, I would win that case. So I didn't want to dig in on that. I started choosing the losing side just because I just posted it out there because it was interesting, and nobody had a good argument against it. And it's like, man, you're really digging in on this thing. It's like, I don't want to dig in. I don't even want to talk about this anymore, but it's getting so much attention and so many people. Somebody just sent me this a second ago. I had to mute all those, but people are coming in to find me right now. Where is this guy? Yeah, he came and found me because people are like actually screenshotting it and then posting it or whatever because they're freaking cowards. But anyways, Pack Daddy, you do know that the phrase, quote, give themselves up or, quote, gone down intentionally mean, right? A player in the NFL can go down and get back up if they want. But if they intentionally kneel down, it's different. Or slide, dive, ... Obviously, skull face, crying, laughing face. Here's the problem. It doesn't say that in the rule book. It says none of it. And so there's so much like flailing and screaming and you're so stupid and you don't know anything and I can't believe you have a podcast. It's like, bro, yes, these are very creative and very hurtful ad hominems. Well done. You've done a good job of saying mean things. The problem is nobody can tell me why the rule doesn't describe what just happened. Listen, I know what they're intending to say. I don't want that to be a rule because that would be stupid. If a quarterback tripped, he couldn't get back up, that's stupid. What I am telling you and what you said again, when you sent me that, I was like, no, that's not true. And then I looked at the rule and I read it and I read it again and I read it again and I read it again. It's like, that's what it says. It actually specifically says if a quarterback goes to a knee immediately. It doesn't say deliberately. It doesn't say intentionally. It doesn't say give himself up. A lot of people kept bringing that up. It was irrelevant because it's not in the rule. If it was in the rule, then we wouldn't have this discussion, but it's not in the rule. It just says if he goes down to his knee immediately. I don't remember the exact wordage, but it's something to that effect. And it's something like, going down and falling down are different. No, they're not. You cannot tell me a guy that tripped and fell and went down wasn't going down to a knee. In what universe did he not go down to his knee? If I fell in the middle of my kitchen and my wife asked my kids, what was that? And my kid says, oh, he went down in the kitchen. And I say, oh, I didn't go down. I tripped down. You stupid idiot, you went down. They're synonyms. They all mean the same thing. You're just giving me a distinction without a difference. He didn't go down, he tripped down. Okay. What does it mean to go, and what does down mean? For crying out loud. And so the entire point is, again, I'm choosing, it's like in a debate when you're just handed a position. I'm choosing the losing side because I know damn well what the intent of the rule is, and I know the refs are never going to rule it that way, and I know what the intent is. I get all of that. But the bottom line is I won every single argument because the rule is written exactly in the way that I described. Well, he didn't go down immediately. He literally, by every definition of the word immediate, yes, he did. So, again, it's your fault. I got so wrapped up in that I had to go mute every single thing because people are just constant. And like I said, now they're coming out to find me. But I'm not doing it because I was losing the argument. There's no debating what the stupid thing said. And all I'm saying is you got to change the wording. You have to change the wording. Because let me ask you this. What if I was like a rogue referee and I did blow it dead right? Are you going to tell me I got the call wrong? I'm doing exactly what the rule book says. I understand the referees are told this is how we want you to enforce it. Okay, but what if I just take it very literally and I do exactly what you say? I'm just saying, you got to change the rule book because that's exactly what it says. But anyways, leaving that aside, because I don't think that that's necessarily a thing. That's not an argument you're going to end up winning. Trust me, even though you would be correct, it doesn't get you anywhere. The people that understand what you're saying and are intelligent enough to actually process what's going on are going to shrug and go, And then all you're left with are stupid people that can't read, that are just going to yell at you all day long. As far as all the other penalties, I tend to agree. The point isn't necessarily that we want anything overthrown or overdone or any of that stuff. Obviously, you can't go backwards. No game is ever going to be turned back. It is what it is. You're stuck with the decisions that were made. But we need to make sure that the officiating crews are well aware of the tactics of the Detroit Lions. They need to begin looking for these things. They have to understand that, for example, calling a penalty on a defensive player because the offensive player runs into them and tries to push off, probably not the best thing. You need to understand that this is how they play. They run into the player and then push off the player to create separation. Those are penalties, and they need to be called. You need to understand that these guys like to go for people's heads. Amon-Ra St. Brown double hand punched a guy in the face. That's a penalty. Zadarius Smith punched the quarterback in the face. That's a penalty. You got other guys that continually dive for people's knees. I don't know if you actually have a rule against that. I know you can't go high, you can't go low. I don't know exactly what the wording of the rules are, but I feel like that's not the right thing. I saw J.J. Watt or something was like, well, what is he supposed to do? What are you talking about? I mean, if your entire argument is he should dive for his knees because he's too small to do anything else, that's freaking crazy. That would be like if you grabbed his face mask and twisted him down by his head and said, yeah, well, how else do you expect him to bring a big guy down like that? Okay, that's not exactly the point, JJ. If you try to tackle him properly, which is to square up and drive into his weight and drive through him, if the point is you're not going to be able to do that because he's bigger than you, yeah, and? We're saying knees are fair game now because it's too hard? What the hell are you talking about, dude? And he goes down the whole, like, well, football's a violent sport. I understand. I fully get that it's a violent sport, but it's violent enough. We don't need to be adding back in gunning for knees specifically, which is, I don't even think they did that in, like, the 40s. I mean, they were crazy. They were smacking people in the head and body slamming guys. I don't know a whole lot of just, like, diving at people's knees and snapping their legs in half. I don't remember that being a big thing, even in the most violent eras. But point is, somebody's got to start paying closer attention to these teams. And I do think officiating crews need to be judged. I mean, we have people that study the data of referees and they understand their tendencies. And when you have a crew that so heavily favors home teams, you may need to start looking into that. You may need to start having conversations with them, because I'll be dead serious with you. I don't think it's that outrageous. You can say rigged if you want, but again, they tend to slant toward whatever the home team is. I don't think it's that outrageous to have a crew that tends to, well, let's just say it would be much more enjoyable to call penalties for the home team. Everybody's cheering for you, as opposed to screaming at you and booing. It sounds stupid, but it's not impossible. You get screamed at enough by an entire state compared to cheered for enough. You get a little excited when you're going to call a penalty for the home team. You get a little scared when you're going to call it for the away team. Maybe this hussy crew is just the biggest pile of sissies of the entire crew, and they're too scared to get booed. I don't know what the reason is, but the point is you got to get down to the bottom of it. Then you got other crews that tend to call these penalties a lot. You go back and analyze it and say, you know what? You guys are being a little too rough on that call. They need to be doing that stuff. Because to hear things like this hussy crew has been, giving it to the home team for like the last decade or whatever, 5 years, however long Hussy's been doing it, it's been a consistent trend. That means there's no growth here. That means there's no training, there's no nothing. I just feel like we put no effort into this refereeing thing. We have a group of guys that get paid way too much money to get things wrong all the time. And if you say, well, it's hard to do their job, I understand. So maybe let's focus on being more efficient as opposed to just throwing money at these people. You understand that's not going to make them better, right? You can pay them $1 million a year. That doesn't make them better referees. I don't understand this whole throwing money at stuff like that's going to fix things. Be more efficient. Spend less money on more people with higher degrees of technology. Let's develop an efficient system to make sure that we identify rules appropriately and efficiently and quickly so that we can actually speed up the game and be more efficient and spend less money and get more calls right. More eye in the sky. That's what we need. More eye in the sky. All right, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good rest of your night. I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Wait. We're not done here. I have a very serious thing I got to tell you. So I don't know if any of you guys celebrate this whole St. Nick thing. It's stupid. It's a weird Wisconsin tradition I didn't even realize until I met my wife. I think like most normal human beings, stockings were a thing you do on Christmas. Santa Claus shows up. He puts presents under the tree. He puts toys and chocolate and action figures in your stocking. You wake up to a full stocking and toys under the tree and half-eaten cookies, and you have a great Christmas. There are some weird Belschnickel frickin' creepy southeastern Wisconsin people that believe that there is this Saint Nick character, which I talked to my half-Mexican attorney who was a believer, and I talked to my wife who's also a believer. And there's some discrepancies in the story, whether this is Santa Claus who takes a second trip around at least a portion of the world, southeastern Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and probably Germany, I don't know. Or is it a completely different person? Nonsense, right? It gives you oranges or something. I don't know, sniffs your socks. He's a perv. But anyways, the reason I'm bringing this up to you is because what we had determined needed to happen was need to have a little rap feud between the two, because I am a believer in the true Santa Claus. He is the only real and true and great Santa Claus, and I caught some flack for that. So what we're gonna do, at least to start things off, I'd love to put this on social media, but it's just too much work and I don't feel like it. If you want to, I'll just give it to you and you can do it. I think it'd be hilarious. So my full plan was to create 2 accounts on X. There would be a Saint Nick dropping his diss track and then Santa dropping his response to it. Today, we're dropping the Saint Nick diss track. Tomorrow, if I can remember, will be the reply track, and I don't know how long this is going to go on for. But ladies and gentlemen, we have radically transformed Christmas. These are not your typical Christmas songs, but it's freaking awesome. And this is what we're doing right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, Saint Nick with his first ever original song, The Real Saint Nick.
Set the record straight, December 6th. I rise from old world streets, a saint with real roots, no corporate leash. Saint Nicholas speaking. No more confusion. I was born in that ancient code before the world got sold to fat man fantasies and them jingles they mold. While you post up in the mall flicking off flash bulbs for show, I was feeding the poor, keeping kids from the cold. Check the calendar, my legacy carved in stone. While your December 25th been snatched by the throne of commerce and greed. Coca-Cola dreams got you trapped. I'm the saint who walked dusty streets, putting truth on the map. No ho ho ho, no fronting with fake reindeer on leashes. I'm bringing that old truth, these hands touching real believers. You the poster boy for plastic gift wrapped in deceit. I'm the G who slipped coins in shoes, kept traditions discreet. Don't mistake me for some red suited branded flight. I'm that original Saint Nick, blessing souls in the night. December 6th is mine, recognize the code I lay. You ain't nothing but a holiday puppet, led astray. You got your face plastered on billboards, grin wide for the masses, but I'm the one invoked in whispers behind stained glass chapels. Long before your empire rose on credit and hype, I inspired mercy, made sure the hungry ate right. They pray in quiet corners, votive candles for me. Your name's just a punchline, pushing product for free. I'm tied to scripture, old tongues, and centuries of respect. You tied to adverts, got kids sold on what's next. You a cheap facade, a seasonal opiate for the slow. I'm the saint they whisper to when the nights get low. Check your reflection, just a shadow in my glow. I'm the standard you can't match, that truth you'll never know. Don't mix me in your scripts, keep my name out your mouth. I'm the real Saint Nick, your image going south. This December 6th crown ain't up for debate. I'm dropping legends on your gimmicks, sealing your fate. I'm from ancient coast where faith made grown men kneel. You from catalog pages, sugar-coated appeal. They bumping this in back streets, candles burning the hall, while you dancing in commercials, following the corporate call. Rethink that red suit, my robes carried the cause. Your jingles just noise, breaking natural laws. Breaking natural laws. I set the tone for generosity beyond near cheer. Your legacy's a cartoon vanishing year after year, while I'm revered in silence. Time carved in old school, you just a legend for hire. Mass media's fool, I put that truth in the tradition. No plastic facade, your hustle's just a Christmas sale, a seasonal mirage. From Europe's ancient squares to the cold Midwest nights, I hold that spirit steady while you bask in false lights. No beef necessary, this is truth versus a clone. You standing on shaky ground, I'm anchored in stone. Don't mistake my lore for your trademark fake. I'm that Saint Nick centuries deep, no mistake when deep.